It's time for Lefties Losing It, and we almost went a whole week without the input of the ladies of The View, but alas, here we are. We can no longer ignore their mad ravings. I have so much to pick from, but let's ignore Whoopi and Joy and Sunny. We hear a lot from them, but we haven't featured Ana Navarro for a while. Here she is suggesting Elon Musk rigged the presidential election for Donald Trump.
Elon Musk needs to look at what he did in this past election.
Yes.
We have a broken system right now because there is no oversight. We have a broken system right now because there is a president who doesn't believe in the Constitution and who defies judicial orders. And Elon Musk and his $300+ million and God knows what else he may have done that we don't know of, own the problem that he created.
Now, here are some facts for Anna and the rest of the View simpletons. Kamala Harris outspent Donald Trump 4-1. She spent well over $1.5 billion with a B in 15 weeks. Donald Trump spent less than $500 million, well less than $500 million, over his entire campaign. This notion that Elon Musk bought Donald Trump the presidency only makes sense if you are ignorant of the facts or deliberately stupid. There are no other options. And talking about ignorant and stupid, let's check in with Kathy Griffin, who is pushing the same mad conspiracy theory that the 2024 election was somehow compromised. It was fixed. How else could Trump win so easily?
People think I'm tinfoil hat because I don't think he won in a free and fair election this time.
Oh.
No, I'm going to take a hit for that, and I understand, but that's just my humble opinion. I don't trust the Elon connection. I have my suspicions.
You know, there's a wave of people who agree with you. A wave.
That's why I'm sort of saying it out loud now, because look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But something about him winning every swing state, all 7.
You're getting a lot of agreement.
It's going to the Democrats. Something about it doesn't sit right with me, but I also don't know if we'll really find out anything in my lifetime. I don't know.
What do they say? Crazy loves company, but Ana Navarro and Kathy Griffin are almost rational commentators when compared to this next mad banshee. Here is former MSNBC host Tiffany Cross. She's on CNN nowadays, and here she claims that Nazi-like ICE agents are kidnapping people off the streets and throwing innocent migrants into concentration camps.
Normalizing a government agency disappearing people. We are normalizing, we're talking about it like it's no big deal that they are kidnapping people and transporting them to concentration camps, both domestic and foreign. I think
that's kind of insulting to,
I think it's
Jewish
insulting what they're
Holocaust.
doing. It is not insulting to Jewish Holocaust. I find it insulting that you could even fix your mouth to defend this disgusting behavior.
It's not a death camp.
It doesn't matter. It's a concentration camp what they're doing, and they are disappearing people, claiming that these are people who have committed the most harsh crimes, but according to the reporting, less than 10% of these people have committed harsh crimes. So to do the Victim Olympics.
Victim Olympics? Who had it worse? Did she really say that it's Victim Olympics to point out that concentration camps actually had millions of people who were murdered in them? Just gross and crazy. As for only 10% of those being deported being hardened criminals, even if that figure is right, every single illegal immigrant is breaking the law. That's why they're being deported. Now, let's end on something a little more frivolous. We hear the dating world is rough nowadays. There's a loneliness epidemic, but, you know, sometimes that's for the best.
Guys, someone just asked me out. We were in the queue for the toilets and we had a bit of banter, and he said, "Can I take you for a drink sometime?" And I thought, let me just ask this simple question. I said, "Are you a feminist, and have you spent time thinking about your privileges as a male? Do you understand the nuances of the trans debate, and do you always sit on the right side of it and understand how we've been pitted against each other by the powers that be to ultimately make us weaker? Do you have a good connection to your inner monologue, or do you spend time avoiding thoughts with vices like games consoles or addiction to alcohol and drugs? And are you angry with the state of the world right now? And if so, what are you doing about it?"
Joining me now is independent YouTube journalist Nick Shirley. Nick, I'm a fan of your work, but for those who haven't seen you out and about, let's have a look at an example. Here you are being all peaceful and polite while Antifa types are trying to intimidate you.
I can be here, sir. Nope, I'm here.
Nick, you were lucky that wasn't much worse, and I think it wasn't much worse because there were police officers just a few feet away. How do you feel being out there surrounded by so many people who, let's be honest, hate you and wouldn't mind taking a swing at you?
Yeah, there's a very strange protest that happened in New York City. The protesters, for some reason, they identified me, and it was like I was the worst person to ever exist for just occupying space at their protest, asking them what they were protesting for.
Oh, this is the thing. They get so snarky or aggressive. I mean, at best snarky, but at worst they can become violent and throw things and throw punches. When you don't antagonise them. From what I've seen of your work, you don't go there mocking them or telling them how stupid they are. You just ask them why they're there, what their cause is, and yet they are really reluctant to use your platform to push their views.
Yeah, if these protesters were smart, they'd realize that I'm there just to ask them a question, and I'm giving them a voice to really voice their opinion to hundreds of thousands of people. And for some reason, they find that I'm some sort of opposition. Meanwhile, they could make themselves look really good on camera if they actually knew why they were protesting.
Absolutely, and they would actually reach an audience they wouldn't otherwise reach. And your reach is far greater than whatever podcasts or YouTube channels they may be appearing on. Now, you attended a pro-Iranian rally, and I can't believe this. Let's have a look at what happened.
What do you think about what's going on in Iran?
I think the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran is an imperialist war against a country of 90 million people with a long history of struggle against imperialist oppression.
Ma'am, wait, what's going on now?
I'm wondering what your organization is.
My name is Nick Shirley.
Uh-huh.
Yes. What's...
Yeah.
And what? Ma'am, stop it. Please stop it.
Again, incredible stuff, the ignorance there, the arrogance, the unpleasantness. Do you ever get the... I don't know, do you just ever feel the desire to give these people some hard truths, particularly when it comes to a country like Iran, because that guy was obviously completely ignorant about the country he was defending?
Yeah, you really want to, and sometimes I do rebuttal their questions. I ask them, like, really, you support, for instance, you support Iran. They would not let you exist in their country if you were there, right? Just based off what they allow inside their country and what they believe in. And so a lot of these protesters in America, it's just like one weekend there's one issue, then the next weekend there's another issue. Some of those protesters had signs out from anti-Elon Musk protests at the Iran protest. Like, do they really know what they're protesting for, or are they just trying to hang out with a new group for the weekend?
Well, this is what's so crazy about them, because they're so passionate. One minute they loved Elon, you know, he was pushing EVs and all the global warming crap that they love. Then they hate him, he's the devil, he's standing with Trump. And now, where do they stand on Elon, do you think? Have the Musk protests stopped completely now that he's not Donald Trump's best mate?
I think they have, and I think that a lot of these protesters are worn out. You haven't seen that many protests the past few weeks, and if you are, the numbers are dwindling because they're realizing that Trump doesn't really care too much. I mean, they can call him a king, but at the end of the day, he wakes up the next day and he's not a king. It doesn't really make sense why they're protesting sometimes.
Now, I do like this clip. They've got a veteran officer here telling all these feral lefties to not lay a hand on you.
Hey, this is the last time I'm telling you. If anything touches the guy again, I'm sending guys in. We're going to arrest you. He's not. We're watching it. We're all standing here. What's the matter with you?
We're touching each other.
You're behind me.
White privilege.
What?
Get out! Get out!
Get out! She's good to go. Hey, guys, right here.
Just about all of them are wearing masks in 2025 outdoors. I mean, that tells you tells you plenty. But how important is the work you do in bringing some transparency to what's really happening at these protests? Because we often don't see mainstream media in amongst the protesters like you are, and it really gives you an insight into who these people are and how they operate.
Yeah, I think it's actually extremely important work, what I'm trying to do here on my YouTube channel, to show people the reality of things as they really are, and going into these locations and just simply being there and asking the questions about what their sign means or why they're there. And it's pretty self-revealing, like you saw in that New York City video. NYPD had to come in and back me up, because what people don't see is underneath that, behind the camera, those protesters were also kicking me. They were throwing water on me, and NYPD saw that I was really no harm to anybody, and these people were coming after me for literally no reason other than that I was just existing in their space and that I was there.
Well, when it comes to Antifa types, I think you do harm to their cause, because you show just how vile and aggressive and, well, really, they're the ones acting like fascists despite calling themselves Antifa. And we saw Andy No do some really important work, citizen journalist work, in the same space. And I think you've got to be careful too, because he ended up suffering a fairly serious assault at the hands of these animals. And they don't like you, these activists, but the cops do appear to be on your side. We saw that clip. And here's another one where you're amongst anti-ICE protesters and law enforcement gives them some sage words of advice.
It's not really safe for you in there.
I know, but it's important. Can you come out here 1 second? Yo, look at him. I'm not making you leave. I'm not making you leave. But I prefer if you could. It's just getting too hairy.
Well, no, the cops were giving you some sage words of advice, and after that they had to escort you out of there, because those so-called peaceful protesters could have followed you and bashed you on your way home. How worried are you about the risk to your safety? Not just having water chucked on you or mean words, but some physical harm coming to you.
It is getting increasingly dangerous. However, I do feel like I'm not posing a threat. I would never put my hand on one of these protesters. I would never do any harm to them. People are becoming unhinged. Somebody did die in my hometown in Utah at a protest because a person did pull out a rifle at one of these protests. So these are getting increasingly dangerous, and I do have to be more precautious as temperaments are rising here inside the United States with these radical groups. These are not Democrats. These are not Republicans. These are radical leftists, if you want to even call them that.
And they've become very, very emboldened in recent years. They've got away with a lot. We saw that at the BLM protest and other protests since. And I think they're going to realise things have changed in America. Nick Shirley, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.